There is this plethora of content out there for leaders, leadership training, leaders, and that's kind of been a big term over the past, I'm going to say 20 years. And I think leadership is great. I read leadership books all the time, and I think it's fabulous. But there's this concept or this belief, whether people say it out loud or not, is that leadership is above or more important than management. And it's just not true, right? And that's a big problem. One of the things that I firmly believe, and one of the things that I teach, is that a manager has to have leadership skills. A leader doesn't necessarily need management skills. I'm not saying that leaders don't have management skills, a lot of them do, but it's not a requirement for being a leader. A leader tends to be more of an emotional type of thing. Have I gotten the message across that we're on the same mission, that we're on the same goal? Am I thinking strategically? Am I able to communicate effectively and create the right brand for the company or the organization? And managers, for better or worse, do a lot of those things, right? They have to engage employees. They have to motivate them to keep working. They got to make sure that the messages are being done right. But managing requires a skill set beyond that. When I am communicating messages, it can't be at the kind of big, fluffy, we're a great organization type thing. It has to be at a very low level. It has to be, here's the mission of the organization. Here's how we fit in. Here's what I need you to do. It's more tactical. So as a manager, you need those leadership skills. You will refine them and you will grow them. But the fact of the matter is you need them. A lot of people think it's the opposite, right? If you're a manager, you're a manager. If you're a leader, you're a leader. And that's a whole different thing. And you've got those management skills. Obviously, that's how you got to be a leader. It's just not true. So the key thing I want managers to know is that you have leadership skills, but you have to take it to another level, right? You have to take those leadership skills and add all of that tactical stuff in there. If you don't, you're going to have problems. And that's where we struggle. So when you hear people talk about leadership, that's great, but make sure that they're talking about what you need, not that high level leadership skills that maybe a CEO has. Make sure they're talking about leadership skills that are related to managers. And they're at different levels, but they're definitely there. So you're going to need those skills, work on them, but do not confuse them with that CEO role. And if you're one of those people who thinks leadership is better or more important than management, you're flat out wrong. I defy you to find a company that has a great leader and poor managers that's successful long term. Doesn't happen. In fact, you look at a Steve Jobs, and one of the reasons Steve Jobs was successful was because he knew I couldn't do some of these things, these management tasks, and he gave it to people like Tim Cook and the other people working with him and said, that's your forte. I can't do that, but it's important. You go do those things. And, Tim Cook became a good leader, leading Apple quite well in a lot of regards. But it's important to understand management is a different animal and just as important. Don't hold one above the other. That's what great managers know.